Chapter 10, Part 1, Muscular System Gross Anatomy. So we're going to start with some terminology related to muscles. So the 2 points of attachment of each muscle to the bone are called origin and insertion. The origin is also called the fixed end and is usually the most stationary proximal end of the muscle. Some muscles actually have more than one origin. Triceps have 3 origins. The triceps brachii has 3 origins. The biceps brachii have 2 origins, and those multiple origins kind of join together to form one muscle. If there's multiple origins, each origin is called a head. So for the insertion end of a muscle, or the mobile end, that's usually found on the distal end of the muscle, attached to the bone being pulled toward the other bone of a joint. Now, the part in between the origin and insertion is referred to as the belly, and that is the largest portion of the muscle that you can kind of, when you feel your biceps, if you flex your muscles on your arm, you can kind of feel that belly part of the bicep. Tendons attach muscles to bone. An aponeurosis is a very broad tendon. An agonist is a muscle that when it contracts, it causes an action. So it's like the main mover in any particular movement. So an agonist is the prime mover in a movement, in an action. An antagonist is the muscle working in an opposite direction of the agonist. So with muscles, one thing to remember is that muscles never ever push. They only ever pull. And if you have 2 muscles acting opposite of each other, one pulling, the other one pulling, or the agonist and the antagonist both pulling, they're going to have a give and take kind of relationship. So as far as the antagonist, an example, the biceps brachii can be used to lift weights, and its agonist, and is the agonist, sorry, but when you're moving a bowling ball back to prepare to bowl, like when you swing it behind you, the biceps become the antagonist. So it's kind of interesting the way the muscles work together. So synergists, like I said, muscles working together to cause a movement. The prime mover plays the major role, and prime mover, also known as the agonist. In some textbooks, those terms are interchangeable. So the prime mover plays the major role in accomplishing a movement. And then we have something referred to as fixators, which help to stabilize joints and kind of make a more smooth movement. So stabilize the joints crossed by the prime mover, prevent movement of the origin of the prime mover. So basically they make the movement more precise, more smooth. So this is just illustrating some of the muscle attachments and movements. You can look over that. Again, this chapter is very short when it comes to the PowerPoint. Fascicle arrangement. Make sure you review these. Maybe make some flashcards, do some drawings, maybe cut and paste and print them out. Because I know that there are some test questions on fascicle arrangement. So how would you describe the circular fascicles? How would you describe the convergent fascicles? How would you describe parallel fascicles? What different types of parallel fascicles are there? Trapezium, rhomboidal, quadrates. There's pennate, and there's different various types of pennate arrangements. And then of course, all the way at the bottom there on the right is the fusiform. So make sure that you know these and be prepared for being assessed on these on the test. So muscles are named according to their location, their size, their shape, the orientation of the fascicles, the origin and insertion, the number of heads, and their function. You're going to have to apply some of these. You're going to be given a name of any particular muscles in the body, and you're going to be asked, how are they named? So if it is, pectoralis major, actually this is a typo here. That should be a comma. But if it's pectoralis major, then it is named by the location as well as the size, because major is indicating size. If it is the deltoid, then a delta is a triangle. So the deltoid is named for its shape. If it's rectus abdominis, if we're talking about the rectus abdominis muscle, which is found on the abdomen, then it is named by the orientation of the fascicles, which is rectus, as well as the location. So be able to apply, if you see any given names of muscles that have any of these terms, or any that are listed in the book, then you should be able to tell me how they're named. So muscle movements, muscles and their tendons and bones act together as lever systems or lever systems, however you want to say that, to move either parts of the body or the whole body. Different levers include the fulcrum, or lever parts include the fulcrum, the weight, and the pull. So the fulcrum is the hinge, the weight is what's being moved, and the pull is the force due to the muscle contraction. The lever moves at the hinge to apply force or pull to the weight. So here are the 3 types of levers, and I would expect you to be able to identify the different classes based on the pictures. So class 1 is the neck, the atlanto-occipital joint at the neck. Class 2 is also, sorry, I had a moment there. So class 2 is an example, kind of real life example would be like a wheelbarrow being lifted and moving. And the picture here is not showing the example that's written here. The picture here is showing the jaw. And so that is a class 2, but I would probably ask you to tell me this one here, which is the metatarsophalangeal joint, which is at the ankle. Okay, standing on your toes at the ankle, that particular area. So be aware of that. Class 3 would be the elbow, basically bending the arm. So those are your levers. Now the last little bit of this, I just put a couple of pictures up because most of the rest of this chapter is going to be covered with the muscle practical, which is identifying the specific muscles that are listed on the muscle checklist that is posted in D2L. So there are, I believe it's 40 muscles that you will be required to identify on the muscle practical for lab. So these pictures are just here for you to practice. And I also posted blank pictures online in D2L, but you don't have to know every single one of these muscles listed in these 2 pictures, this one and this one. You only need to be able to identify the muscles on the muscle checklist, just to be clear. So that's it for chapter 10. Other than knowing what you need to, learning the skeletal checklist. So if you have any questions, let me know.